Hi, everybody. I'm Jess.
Hey, I'm
Eric,
Erik.
how's it going?
All right, all right.
Welcome.
We cut down on the amount of
What?
shows we do, so we haven't done this in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's been really refreshing since everything ended, not to have to devote half of my day to catching up on whatever the 14 shows we're following are. So I'm
Oh
only
yeah, yeah,
following
yeah.
I don't know 3 or 4 shows next season. So I'm
Yeah, I think I
hanging.
want to follow a lot less as well. There's still a lot of stuff coming out, but at a
Welcome.
certain point, you're like, dang, I can't fit it as much as I used to into my
You're not
schedule.
wrong. You're not wrong. Welcome to our finale. I'm going to lean in a little bit for the camera here. Of Anime Book Club for summer 2021. We have gone through several different shows. We are going to talk about them and rant about a few because that's what we do. If you've never joined us before, I'm sorry. You're here now. You're stuck. You're with us. It is what it is. But let's get started. Slime season 2. Slime season 2. At the end, definitely boiled down to we're going to Walpurgis Night, which is a lot different than it feels like in Magica, and we are gonna get Clayman to basically just I don't know poop himself in front of the other demon lords, and then we're gonna kill him. Like get permission to kill him
Yeah,
because he's pooped himself publicly, and then we're gonna kill him.
yeah. So what? I really like Slime. It is unfortunate just how weak Clayman was. Like season one, like propped him up as being like, oh, he's so bad and like he's gonna do all these things, and it was like, and then when it's finally like time to face the music, he's just a clown. He's like a complete clown, and everybody knows it. Everybody in the room
He
knows that he's a clown, and it's just allowing him to just like come up with this ridiculous scheme that just has no chance of winning. And Rimuru, of course, just demolishes
it
him.
was so disappointing. You had last season and you had the slime show that were all about all the different people that live in Tempest and all this and I was really into that. And there was so little of that in this season. It was basically none of
Yeah.
that. This was singularly focused on going to fight Clayman and this and that. And I just didn't care. I mean, the coolest part about it, I guess, was Milim actually did not have any hypnosis and was just playing along the whole time, which seems
But
really
she still
sus. Not gonna
destroyed
lie.
like the Beast Village, and they're like,
Yeah,
okay, it's
But the
cool.
Beast Village guy didn't die. He just kind of hung out and wore a fake tiger head or whatever, and then was everybody's undermining everybody else. I don't know. I wasn't into this
I do like
season.
that
It
they
wasn't my
introduced
jam.
the vampire girl. Like I forgot her name, but they were like the vampire girl with like the different color eyes. I like that she's now one of the demon lords, but that reveal was kind of weird. I don't know how that can happen where like there's an established group of demon lords and then somehow somebody managed to masquerade. Like that doesn't make any sense if you all knew each other beforehand, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I will say that I think I probably enjoyed the slice of life show from this that we watched last season better than this season. But I'm still invested and I'm still here. It is not a show that I watched before we started doing book club, and I still love Gabiru the most. And there needs to be more Gabiru in every single season. Every
Yeah, I
single
don't think
season.
Gabriel was
It's
in
what I
this
need.
almost at all. Yeah.
He was fight. There was one scene where he and somebody else were fighting the Millen's
Oh,
priest
you're right. You're
guys.
right. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that was
actually
about
he's
it.
actually
That
like
was
ever
it.
since everybody got upgrades from Rimuru turning into a demon lord, he's actually decently strong now. Like before, it was like a
Yeah,
joke that he was just like so incredibly weak, but now he apparently actually is a decent fighter. So okay.
yeah. Well, please excuse
I,
me. Sorry, I
yeah.
gotta do something off screen real quick.
I still
But
think Slime
yeah,
is one of my favorite isekais. I just wish
it's a
that they
solid
didn't
isekai.
like they
I don't
they just
isekai,
put
and
so
it's a
much time
solid
into like
isekai.
yeah, they just put so much time into like, oh, this is about to happen. We're going to talk about this setup, and we're going to talk about all these moving chess pieces, and then it's like they just build up so much that it's like when they finally do the payoff, sometimes it's like really like worth it. Like in the like the last core when Rimuru like killed all those people, but then other times it's like this, and it's like man. we spent all this time building up to this fight, and Clayman's gonna like drop the ball like this. Okay,
Yeah. Eh. At least he's gone now, and we'll get, I guess, a big bad that was controlling him that we've teased at. That I don't know. I don't know. But
yeah,
I just want to see. I want to see the city develop and Rinmaru to make some more treaties. I'm here for the dry stuff. That's what I'm here for. Overall, though, I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's still a really good isekai. You're right. You're right. It's better
yeah.
than watching ReZero, which you know.
I like this more than ReZero, but the ReZero fans will be mad at that comment.
Well, they can be mad because, yeah, no, slime is much better than ReZero. Absolutely. Would stake my reputation on that. It's better. I'm sorry, you
I
folks are
agree.
just.
I agree.
Now, I don't watch. I watched like half of the first season of Kobayashi, so I'm familiar with it, but I didn't really, you know. I started out Kobayashi the second season, the S season, hating it because the new character Ilulu has abnormally sized breasts, and I just don't understand why any of that was necessary. But yeah, she was okay, and
Yeah,
she wasn't the focus of the rest of the season, which made it better. You kind of jumped around with different characters and their different interactions, and it was very slice of lifey. And I feel like we didn't really, there was not like a huge overarching storyline other than the fact that you learned a whole lot about Toru's backstory over the course of a few episodes. Like Toru
yeah. Honestly,
feuding with
this
the other
season really
chick
dive into a
in
lot of
dragon
their
form.
backstories. Yeah.
Yeah, the second
We
half of
learned
the
a lot
season
about
was
Toru.
very full of backstory.
Yeah. My favorite character, Elma. We learned about her relationship with Toru before, uh, like they kind of became frenemies, or yeah, yeah. So I really like Elma, and I like that they really developed her character this season and made it less of like a running gag. Oh, she's just the character that's here. That's kind of dumb and she eats food. And so they fleshed out a lot more. Toru, they definitely like develop a lot. They showed how the reason why she came to Earth was because like she was like she fought like the gods, and she got injured so badly. That's why she was injured in the forest when Kobayashi found her. They also developed what's the psychic boy? Oh, Shota. His Shota. How can you forget
Yeah,
that
his
name?
name is Shota.
Um,
Yes,
and
exactly.
so they developed him and his dad a little bit, and so I like the way this season went. It had some really good animation. The fight scenes are really good. They also had a really good Kana episode. So I
Yeah,
appreciate this one. I think this is probably
I'm
the best
I'm kind of with
show
you.
that was
I
a
think
sequel this
Elma is
season,
my
in my
favorite.
opinion. Huh?
This was a good sequel. I agree. I said I'm with you. Elma is, I think, my favorite because her episodes were my favorite episodes in the season.
Yeah.
So she's
For some
she's
reason, they
definitely some
decided to
great.
put half their animation budget into the Elma versus Toru fight, which I greatly appreciated.
They did. They absolutely did. I appreciate when Elma decides to make changes to the workplace and writes like all of the ways that we can improve the workplace in this document, and it's
Yeah.
like this thick. It's like I love her. She's great. She was great. I mean, this was kind of a fluffy
Yeah.
show for me, but that's okay. I mean, you need that sometimes.
Yeah.
Villainess. So Eric and I are both
Villainous was
huge
disappointing.
fans of Villainess. Let's start there. We both loved the first season of Villainess because it's ridiculous. This season had nothing to offer. Like it really had nothing to offer. It was the same tired jokes about her being clueless and unobservant, even though people actively number one, first dude tried to sexually assault her, which was terrifying, and then like
Yeah, and then like she
several
blamed it
people
on like a
were
bug bite.
confessing and kissing her, and it's like, what do you, I,
Yeah,
it's strained
like
credulity, you know?
in order to keep all the themes that was of the show that was in season one, they had to literally make her dumber, and that's 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 just so not enjoyable to watch when you literally watch a character dumber this episode than they were at this point in season one, and she just
Yep,
made no progress. They also like reversed like tracked on a bunch of characters, like characters that had like all these other personality traits. All of a sudden, the only personality trait
they
right
just
now is
did.
that they care about Katharina, and so it's like
Yep,
all these characters
everything
just
went
kind of
away.
like went backwards. Um, I think the only character that actually developed was the younger Katarina's younger brother. At least he's more like, oh, I'm going to like tell my sister that I like her now, but like it kind of ended
That's not
weird
all
because
too
then it kind of like it ended really weird because he was he kept going to like salt territory and I'm like stop that. So at the end of the day, this should do anything. I feel like you could almost not watch season two and like it's gonna follow up with a movie. I feel like you'd almost could not watch season two and just watch the movie, and I don't think anything would be lost really.
Yeah. I will say
Maybe you won't
the
know
only
one
thing
or
I
two
really loved
characters, but
about
like
this
it's the same thing.
season, the only thing I really loved about this season was Alan and Mary's pact. That I actually did love
Oh
that. So
yeah,
that's I like that also because my favorite character is Alan and Eric's favorite character is Mary. So our characters are in a pact now, and they're gonna stay engaged to each other so that they have the opportunity to confess their love for the same person, and they're both very aware of it too, which is the best part.
yeah.
They're like, no,
I
I
want
know
them
who
to
you're
settle for
into.
each other. I want them to be like, hey, like neither of us are gonna get Katharina, and I just want them to be happy together. I think Mary and Alan actually could work out very well. They're both really good people. They're both like actually were developed characters before season two, so I think they can work together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mango. I don't think
oh,
I don't think the movie's gonna
here,
do anything new.
let me let you talk about Higurashi. Let me let you talk about Higurashi. Eric has
Ah.
already prefaced me with how much he loved Higurashi this season.
Oh my god. Higurashi was just so my god. It was so hard to watch, right? But you watched it with the belief that it was going to be worth it. Like you're like, "Oh, this is painful, but I'm waiting for the payoff." And you just suffered week after week after week. And where's the payoff? When is it coming? Please come soon. And then finally there was one good episode. And it's like, "Yes, this is the best episode of Higurashi in the whole series so far." And you're like, surely there must be a good finale coming up. And the finale was garbage. And it's like, oh my god.
Yep, yep, yep. This is what we were in for.
Oh
At
my
the end,
god.
it took almost the entire season to get back to the episode where Sadako opens the box and it's not a trap and it's a bear. And like it took us all season to get back here. Like, oh,
Oh my god. Oh my god.
oh.
Like it was just it
But
was just
the,
so hard because the reason why this season was particularly hard to watch is because you don't want to watch Satoko win. And this whole season was just Satoko winning. It's just like Satoko was just like actively destroying the lives of all her friends, people that she cared about, people that like she went through like hell with, and she actively killing them and watching them suffer. There was even a point where Yua was like, "Hey, you know what? Mion never went crazy in all the time loops that she's been in."
yep,
And they're both like, "Wouldn't it be funny if she just lost her mind and started killing people? That would be real funny if my best friend just started killing my other best friends." Yeah,
yep.
that's what we're gonna do for
Yeah,
three
yeah, I
episodes.
remember that episode. I knew you were gonna mention that because I remember that happened. I'm like, oh, just for funsies. Okay, I'm gonna give
Yeah,
you,
it's like
Hinamazawa syndrome just for funsies. Okay.
so.
Yeah, no, I thought this was pretty disappointing too. At the end, you've got the two celestial beings fighting each other, and
Dragon Ball Z
now
style.
the little one calls forth a miracle, and there's all this kind of weird crap, and nothing gets
Yeah,
accomplished. And then freaking Sadako and Erika are just punching each other for like a whole episode.
so the second to last episode was so funny. I laughed. I enjoyed that episode so much, right? Because Satoko finally reveals to Rika that she's a looper, and then she's just going to kill Rika like multiple times. And then the way it happened was Rika would jump into a new timeline, and she doesn't even realize that she's in a new timeline, and she doesn't even realize that things are strange for like a whole second and a half. And Satoko used that 1 second to get the jump on her every single time. And
Yep,
there was a moment where Rika
yep.
was like cooking food on the stove, and before she even realizes she's in a new time loop, Sonic hits her with a hot frying pan. And like, it's so funny. Like that episode probably was the best episode of all the Higurashi's episodes ever. And it even brought back the chair from the OVA that Rika used to beat Satoko with. They brought it back for that episode. The same chair. She beat Satoko with it again. And I was like, oh man. When I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe this would be worth it. Maybe all this pain would be worth it. But then the final episode was like, nah,
No. Yeah.
it's not.
I was so disappointed because I was like, oh, it's like it ended on like 15 too, which was really awkward too. And I'm like, oh, clearly they're gonna
Yeah,
have a few more. No, nope, nope. I guess we're
yeah.
done. So, are they having another season of this? Because I feel like that's where they were
I
leading.
mean,
I
there
guess.
probably will be because this season ended with Yua or Size Featherine getting stabbed with the shard that apparently kills loopers, and but apparently she's so powerful that it didn't kill her, it just made her weaker, and so now there's a new like lolly magical girl that's around spreading misfortune. So it's like I don't even know who this new person is. She's completely new, and so there's probably gonna be more. But at this point, I feel like the director,
Yeah.
like, I feel like he's just, I don't know, is he full of himself? Like, why did you, why, who would, like, this bad? This could have been good. Like, this whole season could have been like 3 episodes of recap and then just jump into content. But instead, we get this. So I don't know.
No, but don't you understand? Instead of just catching up or watching a recap, we have to watch 100 years worth of Rika get tortured. So then we have to watch 100 years of torturing people. I mean, that's just, they've already established it. It's canon for the show. Sadako had to be
Yeah,
tortured or had to watch 100 years of Rika instead of, I don't know, studying for the exam that was the problem in the
yeah, like
first
just
place.
study. You know the meme.
I like
Man,
how
I
she's
can't
like,
remember the name of
girl,
the meme,
I'm
but you
never
know,
gonna do it. I'm never gonna study. Like, what? What? Are you stupid? You've been doing this for 100 years. Oh my god.
I was so mad at the final argument
Hmm.
they were having, where Rika was like, "Hey, just study," and Sasuke was like, "I don't want to study though," and Rika was like, "Well, I'll help you." It's like, "I don't want your help. I make you study then," and it's like, "Oh, this is stupid. This is actually
It's
stupid."
nonsensical. It's absolutely nonsensical. I don't get it. Manly Mango here in the chat is also in pain. I understand. I understand all too well. Uh, But yeah, we're done with Higurashi, at least for now. So, ugh.
Yeah,
What a disappointing season this was. What a disappointing season
yeah,
of anime
and
across
it
the
ended on
board.
like
Like
episode,
everything we've talked about has been disappointing. You know?
like this ended on like episode 10 for some reason, and I don't know. So nothing happened really. I mean, we know that what's her name, not Magica, isn't crazy, but she might be crazy because the girl she thought was her sister might not actually be real. You were saying that you didn't think she was
I
real,
was
but
saying
now
I
they're like
didn't. I was doubting
the
her
other
sister
girl
was
the other
real
girl
from
now
the
is like
beginning.
so so the girl that's like I forgot, is her name Nimu? I forgot, but the other girl might be her
The
real sister and made the other memories. I don't know.
the not Monica is Iroha because I used to watch a show
Yeah,
called Iroha and I liked it and I remember the name. Um, but yeah. Now,
so
the most interesting thing of this was the whole both seasons was the concept that you could separate your witch part from your actual part, and then your witch part is just separate from you. So you basically have a different way of cleansing yourself that's not soul gems, or grief seeds. Uh, but outside of that,
yeah,
I mean, unless you want to watch pretty
nothing else
character
happened.
art from Madoka, why would anybody bother watching the show? You know?
I mean, it is footage. AV editors are required to watch it and required to take notes. So, I mean, it is footage.
Fair, fair. I would say I look forward to the pretty AMVs to this meaningless show. So, mm.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard though. I tried to scrub through it and I couldn't find a lot, but there's some stuff in there.
For I guess the benefit of the stream, half of this series was they go to like the big palace of where they're trying to make like this giant tooth witch monster. They're crafting it and feeding it other witches, and they find out all about this. And then they rescue this little chick here that's next to not Monica. I don't know her name. I don't remember. She works at a Chinese restaurant. That's what I know about her. She has turned into like a half witch thingy, and then Mommy has also turned into, and they're attacking them, and they wind up pulling them out of that milieu, and then they're okay. And like that's kind of like the second half of
Yeah.
the series is when they're rescuing them over several episodes.
So funny thing though,
But that's
I
all.
played the gotcha game that this side story is based off, and so the way the gotcha game works is that if you have like actual if you have friends, you can share like your friend code, and during certain battles, you could borrow the characters of your friends to help you out. And so one of my friends, she plays the game, and she has pretty much like most of the characters. And so whenever I was playing like the harder bosses, I would borrow characters. And the green version of the Chinese restaurant girl, I will always borrow her, and I was like, oh man, she's so strong. And I never even realized that it was the final form of her. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Apparently I've been spoiled for this whole plot point like a whole year, like a year and a
Yeah.
half ago, and didn't even realize it. I thought she
Oh
was a
well.
completely different character. I didn't even realize that they must have had the same name. I just borrowed her character and said, hey, this character hits hard. I want to use it to beat this boss. And I never even
Yeah.
looked at the name or looked at the lore or anything. But,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I feel
I
like a
mean,
lot of people that just I didn't care about this show. I can't imagine a lot of people cared about this show. It's not compelling like Magica. It really just has the one twist about the different way to like purge yourself of witch stuff. I just didn't care. I didn't care.
the weird thing. The weird thing was that, like, at the end of season one, they were like, "Oh, Walpurgis Night is coming back to this town, and it's going to be a huge deal." But then, like, when everything gets resolved this season, it's like, "Oh no, it's not coming," and it's like, "Okay, sweet,
Yeah, and then the other
all right,
characters from
I
the
guess we're
other
going home,
team just
guys."
like they're
And it's
going
like, wait a
home.
minute. I was like, wait a
It was
minute.
weird.
So I don't know.
Weird, man.
Hopefully, I guess there's another season that's about to come out, and maybe that's going to clear up things. But right now, it's kind of I'm not super invested, but I'm just going to
Hey,
watch it
aren't you
regardless because it's
aren't you
Monica.
glad we didn't do weekly streams this time? Because then we'd have to talk about these boring shows that neither one of us really liked a whole lot, like every week.
Yeah, like I just don't know why so many things was disappointing this season. Like I like we had
They
like
were.
when we were doing the weekly stuff, there was like good stuff every single week. But this season, it was
It
like,
was. It was.
dang, like
We picked the right season to do weekly. That's what it comes down to. So, all
yo,
right, to your
oh
attorneys.
here
To
we
your
go,
attorneys not
another
terrible,
big
but
disappointment.
man, I don't know. It definitely shit the bed in the end. Pardon my French, but there's no other term for it. The series definitely shit the bed in the end. I feel like
So
our high point here was Gugu, and once Gugu was gone, that whole next arc, it would it hurts
yeah,
me. It hurts
Google was
me.
so good. Like literally the moment Google
Gugu
died,
was
that's
so
that's that was the last moment that like the show was had like really good writing and really good like development. Because right after that, we get what's her name, Paran. She and Fu were like trying to go like leave the town because Fu had to go and she didn't want him to be alone. And then they meet this other kid that's like, oh, like but they go on the boat, and this other kid tricks them into going to like this island where everyone's like a prisoner and they have to
prison
fight for their
colony.
freedom and in order to be king. And it's just so weird plot development because it's like we
And
find out
then
that
the knockers create zombies. That was when it jumped the shark for me, man. Well, all of a sudden, the
yeah
knockers
they
can
they
inhabit dead bodies and make zombies, and it's like, what has this show become? What have we done?
But even before
What have
that,
we done?
they revealed that the girl, man, it's so hard remembering names because we watched these shows like at this point like weeks and weeks ago. But
Yeah,
the villain from the first part that had the scar that tried to
yeah.
that tried
The one
that killed
that killed Marge.
March. Yeah, so
Yeah,
she comes back and turns out she's been manipulating everything, and she's the reason why that kid put them on the boat, and she's been like manipulating the tournament in order for her to be the final match, and that way she can fight Fu. And then somehow, even though she hasn't seen Fu in years, and she doesn't know that Fu can turn into Gugu, and Fu can turn into all these other things, somehow she manages to completely overpower him, and it's not even like a contest. She
yep.
just like literally overpowers him,
Oh,
and it gives
Hayase,
him the sleeping medicine.
Hayase,
And so,
Manly Mango told us in
oh
the
yeah, yeah,
chat. But yeah,
Hayase. And so somehow she managed to beat him, and it makes no sense. And it's like it's so like convenient writing. And then apparently, I don't know, she wants to have a child with him somehow because she tried to like I think she tried to rape him, and it's like these weird plot
She
developments kept
did.
happening
She
even before
absolutely
the
did. She
zombie
was
thing.
like, "I'm gonna be all sexy," and then she had him he was like unconscious and couldn't move, and then she tried to sexually assault him, and this was really creepy. And she's got that whole creepy cult like vibe now about, oh, we can like rule everything, and I'll do all of this for you. And so he takes her out on a boat and just sends her adrift in like another boat because he makes another boat, and like
Yeah,
it's weird. And then at the end, you get a time jump again where he's like some middle aged dude just being like, "What's up?" at the end of the series. And that's the end of the season. And it was so
yeah,
weird.
that was a weird
Oh, it was
ending. Apparently, this was in terms of the manga. This was like from what I've heard, this was like one of the weakest parts of the manga. And apparently, the rest of the story is really, really good. It's just unfortunate that the anime had to pick this part to end on. So I think
yeah,
there is. I think obviously they're going to get another season. So I will that. I think overall this show is still pretty good. I think it's just unfortunate that it couldn't go on longer and kind of redeem itself from this particular arc.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And it ended on episode 20, which was kind of strange too. But I'm
Yeah.
not upset I watched it, but it definitely shit the bed in the end. All right, Fena. Fena is still, I think, ongoing. We have like 2 more episodes, right, or something? I think so. Uh,
So on the note of
Fena
Fena,
is
Fena,
like,
I'm actually behind. I only watched 4 episodes of Fena. I think Fena's on episode. So I'm actually a little behind on Fena, but I have kind of got
okay.
the gist of what it's about.
I will talk to you about Fena then, because we are at a really kind of interesting point with it right now. I'm gonna spoil you, Erik. Sorry, but you're here,
Oh,
and
that's
this is
fine.
Anime Book Club, and this is what you signed up for. So we picked up Fena kind of late, and we didn't. I don't think we talked about it last stream at all because it's one of the ones we picked up because it had just started. It's like this
We
weird
swapped
like
Fena out
halfway
for
through the
girlfriend
season
girlfriend.
thing. Yeah, I hated Girlfriend. Please never make me watch that again. Um, so Fena is turns out that her father was involved, like ran off with her mother, who was supposed she was like they're related to Joan of Arc somehow, but her mother had like a suitor who was this dude that lived near her that was in love with her, and he turned out to be this crazy blonde guy that comes and chases them throughout the season. Uh, her father and possibly her mother were involved in this mythical place called Eden that might be the afterlife that we actually just got to. That they've been trying to figure out what it is and how to chase it all season. And in the episode that aired like this week, we got to it. So when she was a little kid, she was on a boat and she almost died, and she was saved by a dude in the back with the hair in a ponytail right behind her. Um, Hyaki. I want to call him Hyakimaru, but that's from Dororo. I don't
I think
remember.
it's
He's got a
Kimimaru or
very
something like
Japanese
that.
little kid, and he never forgot her. And then so she discovers they rescue her from being like essentially sold off, sort of like a child bride, and they rescue her with some old servants of her family. And then they find out that she knows about this Eden thing, and she's like the key to it. So like they go to like this underground tunnel at one point, and she helps like put this thing in, and it leads them to like these coordinates that cryptic. It's all very cryptic, you know. And finally, they figure out the coordinates are actually backwards. So she and they're talking about it, and oh no, it's actually here. And then they go to those coordinates, and they're being chased by this blonde guy who's very European looking, who is in love with her mother. And you get one episode that's the backstory of the blonde guy and her mother, which is kind of cool. The show is not, I'm gonna be honest, super compelling. It's kind of bland. She is in love with the dude, and the dude is in love with her, but they can't really admit it to each other. And they finally kind of come to that conclusion in the episode I'm at, and everybody kind of knows it. Um, but like, there's a bunch of stuff like she knew this little dance when she was a little girl, and it's a specific dance that she uses. Kind of gets taken over by the forces of Eden in this place, and does this dance in a specific order that opens up this giant like stairway, and that's where we're at. The giant stairway opens up in this magical place that they found on the map that
That's a
came
bit
out
of
of
a
the it
genre
came out of
shift,
the
though.
ocean, like a giant island just rose out of the ocean when she shows up, and then she's opened the path to Eden. And what that is yet, really? But that's what everybody's looking for, and that's where we're at. And I think it's episode 10 that we're on right now. But they're not really pirates, they're just on a boat. I don't know why they're calling her the pirate princess that much, because they're not really a lot of pirates in this. There's lady pirates that try to kidnap her in one episode, and they're pretty cool. But that's really the only pirates you're getting out of this. Everybody else they're more like the Seven Samurai, honestly. Like the dudes with her. So it's
Yeah.
kind of weird. I don't know that I like Fena. It's pretty.
So
It's real pretty.
yeah, like I do like the way the show looks. Fina actually has really good design for a character. Some of my friends are joking around because I always say that whenever an anime character cuts their hair, they always look better in the original version than the second version. And so when Fina cut her hair, I was like, oh dang, I liked her in long hair, but she is really cute with short hair too. Um, and so I kind of hate the guy. Like the guy is like
He
is he
gets
the worst
better.
part of the show?
He gets better.
So I
Uh,
hated him because
the
it's like he's introduced and Fina's like, oh, he's not like other guys that treated me terribly over the last 10 years, and he's my best friend and I love him. And the first thing he does is he hits her and knocks her unconscious. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, okay, all right, that's how that's gonna happen. And he's just like the whole like for me, he's always like, oh, I'm always like so antisocial and angry, and I'm going to like hit Fina whenever I feel like it. And I'm like, okay, that's okay.
that
So I don't
don't
like
worry, that
him.
goes
The
away.
other characters are
That
fun.
goes away later in the season. Like you don't have to deal with a lot of that. That goes away. So
So I do like the villains. Seem pretty fun. Uh, but yeah, the last episode I saw was when they went to the not ice maker, glass maker, and he was like, oh yeah, this
oh yeah,
code has the signature of Joan of Arc on it, and I'm like, okay, I think the show to go there, but okay.
yeah. And the whole thing is that it was made 5 years after Joan of Arc supposedly was dead. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, they talk about that later. But sorry if you guys hear the background noise. It's a little loud over here, but all right. Now it's my turn to rant about something. Hmm.
Is there a show that we like so far?
No, the
Dragon
shows that
Maid
we
was the
like
only
were
show that got a positive review from us.
Dragon Maid was alright. Yeah, Dragon Maid was alright. Alright, Tokyo Revengers. AKA, the main character is absolutely insufferable and I sort of want him to die. Every single episode, he finds new ways to disappoint me, to be bad at his job, to squander every resource he possibly has being a time traveler. I hate him. I hate him so much. He may be not. No, he's not the most hated anime character I have. I have a few more that I hate a lot more. But I cannot stand Takemichi. I cannot at all. He would be dead 800
He's
times
just so
over
dumb.
if this show is only redeemable for two characters. There are only two characters in this show that actually I like. And there's not enough screen time for either one of them to make it tolerable. And that's Draken and that's Hina.
Yep.
Because they're
Yep.
competent. They're the only competent
Yep.
people in this entire show. And this whole season
I mean,
has
and the bar is
just
pretty low, honestly, because even Draken isn't really like super like he's not like I got all the game plan in motion. Like Draken isn't really like that confident, but like compared to everybody else, genius.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. The second half of the season is all about this climactic fight with where Baki or Baki, I don't remember, the guy in the dark hair in the back there has joined another team. It's the Headless Valhalla team, and they don't like Tokyo Manji, but maybe they're run by Mikey secretly. It's really convoluted because they change their mind about what the secret is in every other episode. But he's trying to save Kazutora, who's not pictured here. Kazutora is crazy because he killed Mikey's brother when he was like younger and went to juvie for several years, and then blames it on Mikey and is trying to destroy Mikey. But Baji is trying to save Kazutora by by joining this other group, and they had a brawl. And Valhalla has like a gajillion more members than Tokyo Magi, so of course they're winning. And then there's like this whole back and forth where trying to think of who that bad guy is that joined Tokyo Magi in the beginning of the season. I don't know. This is all gang drama, and I hate it. All right, I know a ton about it because I had to watch the stupid show, and I hate it. I don't care about Baji. I don't care how many sappy episodes they throw at me to care about him. I don't care about him. Okay, I
It's
just don't.
just so
And pro
dumb.
tip, spoiler:
Like,
he
I
dies.
don't get.
He
There's
winds
this
up
point.
dying.
There's this point. I think his name is Kisutara or something like that. But there's this point where this guy stabs Baji, and it's like, oh no, the future that I've been trying to like stop is happening, and then Baji survives somehow, and then Baji's like, oh, I don't want
And then Baji's
him to
like,
feel bad for
Mikey, don't
stabbing and
hurt
killing me,
him.
so I'm gonna
And
kill myself. And it's like,
yeah.
what do you mean? It's like, what do
Ugh.
you like? Why did you do that? Why? And I just
I
don't
hate
understand.
I hate it. I actively dislike this show on so many levels. And then it gets worse. All right. So you've got all this, and Mikey does not end up going crazy on Kara, and does not kill what the reason that Mikey was like put in jail, and it led to some bad thing, right? Doesn't happen. Because Baji kills himself and tells him it's not your fault and blah blah blah. Whatever. I don't care. But then you get the future again. And now Takemichi is like some gangster dude who's part of the inner circle for like the really advanced Tokyo Manji gang. And the bad guy that he was worried about like the whole time shows up and totally owns him, and the other dude who was like Baji's like brother, or his second in
Yes, it
command
was
or
his
whatever.
like a second in command.
Oh my god.
And
And so like the
so
last episode is extremely painful because it's Takemichi not knowing how to do anything and being stupid and following people into this gang situation, and then getting aced by this dude he was worried about in the first place that he shouldn't have trusted. And he's just so dumb, and I can't deal with him. I can't deal with Takemichi. I just can't.
yeah, I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine a worse time traveler than I don't think I've seen a more incompetent time traveler. Like,
He's
just think
awful.
hard.
He's
This
the
have
worst.
you seen a more incompetent time traveler than this man?
No,
Like,
no,
and
I have not.
and it's so weird because like the mission at the end of the day is not, he has more resources than most time travelers. He can go back and forth. And the mission at the end of the day isn't even that it's not that hard. Like his initial meeting was mission was stop these two guys from meeting. And he forgot that for like a whole season. And all of a sudden this guy is now second in command, or like bringing into the organization. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to stop them from meeting. My bad. I've been doing all this other stuff and clowning around. And it's like, come on, man. Come on,
He's the
man.
worst. He's the worst. Well, Tokyo Revengers is over for the season. It's popular enough. I think it's already been announced for another season. So
I
I
don't think I'm
guess somebody will
continuing.
have to suffer
I'm
through this in
done.
the future. Yeah, I'm done with
I'm
the
I'm
show.
off the train.
It's painful.
You know, I am going to pick up Yashahime. Actually, I am going to start rewatching Yashahime because the new episode just started. I will watch Yashahime over Tokyo Revengers.
That's a bold statement. I would not. I would choose Tokyo Revengers over Yashahime, but
No,
they're
no,
both garbage.
I have hopes. I have hopes for Yashahime now.
All right. Well, I ain't watching that. Duke of Death and his Maid.
So
I thought this show started out real good. Definitely didn't go anywhere. Like, you got no real meaningful information.
yeah, like compared to how many, like it was 12 episodes, and at the end of the day, I feel like the amount of information we got, like almost could have been revealed in like the first two episodes. Like all we know is that what's is his name Alice, I think. All we know is
Uh,
that her mother um all we know is that her mother might have
her
something
mother
to
was
do
the
with
witch,
everything, and that
and
yeah,
her mother's
and
body, or her mother might still be alive and kidnapped. it involves like this witch who looks like a nun but wears a skull mask, and she might have been the one that cursed the dude, and she leads the witches council, and she was involved with the mother, but the mother might be alive and might have been a witch, and we really don't
Like
know a
that
lot
feels
more
like
than that.
information that could have been revealed in the first 3 episodes and would have been really interesting and serve like a good like backdrop of all the things that are happening. And you're like, oh wait a minute, all this we know all this stuff. Like, what are these events going to have to do with that, right? That could have been a real good
Yeah,
backdrop, but instead it gets revealed like very very slow drip over the course of 12 episodes, and it's like at that point it's almost loses its effectiveness as being like a good
it
narrative
does.
device.
It started out real good, and then I just feel like they didn't give you anything to go on for the second half of the series, and I was just disappointed with
I
it in the
was
end.
I was so ever since the first episode, I was 100% sure that something was going to happen. He was going to trip and fall or something, and he was going to touch her, and that it was going to be revealed that for some reason she's immune to his curse, and that was going to be their relationship where she's the only person he could touch.
Yeah,
But it's like we don't have like their relationship has not. I mean, it's progressed. They both at least say that they love each other now, and they both understand that they like. And he the one thing that did progress is that he even like told his mom like, yeah, I'm gonna marry her, and there's nothing you can do. And her
yeah.
mom was like, oh man, my son finally has a backbone. Okay. And so beyond that, it's like it's just was like every day of just like I don't know, problem of the day. It wasn't even a problem of the day. It was just experience of the day. The show got announced for season 2. I will be watching it. Hopefully, season 2 has more content. But this one was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I was kind of on this by the end. I started out better. I don't like the CG. I hate it. I mean, I hate the animation style. I hate that kind of CG. I hated I hated the animation in High Score Girl for the same reason. It's the same kind of CG.
I didn't hate this, but it is really weird. Like, the characters all they have very strange proportions. Um, and so because of that, you kind of I mean I feel like I don't I wouldn't necessarily say it's a flaw, it's more of a feature. And so they have really strange proportions, and you kind of just have to get used to it. I don't hate it, but it's like it is like you can't really enjoy this show because of the animation. Like it's not really there. um
Yeah.
so
Oh, all right. Vanitas. Vanitas. I mean, you did you finish this eventually?
I did finish this.
Okay, good. Vanitas just got in. I mean, it's teasing it being gay. That's the show. Let me save you
Yeah.
some time. I didn't hate it, but it's teasing at these two characters being gay. Like that is the show. They're not overt about it. Like it's got a lot of weird, strangely erotic scenes with the blue-haired dude and this vampire chick. Where she's got like the hunger and consumption, and she wants to eat people because most vampires apparently don't want to eat people, but then
Yeah, she has
she winds up in a pinch, and he has to like drink her blood, or no, she has to drink his blood, and then she becomes like attached to him because of it. It's really kind of
yeah,
weird,
so
but
so what happened is that she's one of the I forgot the word that he used. It's like it's not a curse, but it's there's like a like
a
not like it's not a
condition.
sickness either. Yeah, there's a condition that the vampires have where they become at risk of losing their name. Um and so it's almost certain that she has that, but she doesn't want to admit it, or for whatever reason, maybe there's something like something like
Well,
controlling her
she
that
doesn't want to
prevents
admit
her
it
from
because
telling people about it.
before Vanitas shows up, they're killing all the vampires that have this condition. They like hunt them down and
Yeah.
kill them because some of them are super dangerous. So they hunt them down and kill them. But then Vanitas has this. He's was gifted a book from like maybe an ancestor, the original Vanitas, who wrote this book. And the book was intended to kill vampires by taking away their real name and like destroying them. But he uses it to restore their real name if they have this condition. And then there's a bad guy who's like a carnival, who appears as a carnival and a bunch of carnival freaks who's like
Yeah.
maybe possibly setting people off that have this condition and causing havoc and stuff like that.
So
But this, eh, yeah, go ahead.
like I didn't super love this show, but I think it's fine. I do feel that it's weird. Like you kept saying, like you're saying, like the show teases that they're gay, and while doing so, it kept like solidifying their relationships with these other girls, like Jean. Jean is such a good girl, and I like her so much. And
Yeah,
I think her
I like
and
him too.
Vanitas would be a really good couple, right? And so their relationship has been like progressing, and because at first she only was like kind of like communicating with him because she needed somebody to suck blood from, and he's like willing and says, hey, I'll do this for you if you agree to my terms of I'm the only person you're going to suck blood from. He says fine, whatever, I'll do it. And that's the end of our relationship. But then she like actually starts to like him because he actually is really really kind to her, and
They
they
go on
actually
a
do have
date.
fun together. Yeah, they go on a date, and she wanted to like trick him into like say, oh, she wanted to say she loved him because she heard that he doesn't like people that love him, and so she ended up actually falling in love with him while trying to pretend to be in love in order to get him to hate her, and so they're a really cute couple now, and I really do ship them, and so I don't actually care about the relationship between Vanitas and Noe because like it's not even that interesting. I mean, it's like the initial
No,
hook of
it's
the
not.
show, gay vampires, but the two of them aren't even that interesting because Noe has this
No,
other
I
girl
agree.
named Demi, which is also really good, and she's really fun. And so I don't know why the show is kind of playing middle of the road and be like, hey, let's develop their relationships with their fiancés and Jean, but also we're gonna tempt you and they might be gay. And so
Yeah,
it really is playing both sides.
it is. It is. I didn't. I mean, I wasn't super attached to the show by the end. I didn't hate it, I guess, but I just didn't care as much. You meet like one of the
Yeah.
stronger people in the organization. This redheaded guy. I'm gonna call him Rengoku because he's gonna be my Rengoku of this series because I don't remember his name, but he's got red. Uh, and then like they have some shenanigans where they go to an underground facility where they meet like these priests that are trying to kill vampires, but then they convince them that Noe's okay and maybe they're all working toward the same goal. And then they meet Dr. Moreau, who is like responsible for a lot of Vanitas's like weirdness and trauma and upbringing, and there's a lot there. I don't know. I probably would not continue the series if it gets another season. I just didn't care that much.
I think I might, but like even like I was super behind on this season, and so like I actually didn't finish the last two episodes until this morning. So like this show wasn't super like compelling for me to watch every single week, but overall I think it's okay. Um, if I'm not pressed for time, I will watch the rest of it. Like if there's more that comes, like another season, but
Yeah,
I don't. It doesn't have a strong hook.
yeah,
And
I
that's
agree.
his biggest
I agree.
weakness.
Jahy. All right, Jahy.
Yeah.
Jahy we picked up after it was another one that's like maybe 3 episodes were out when we did the halfway point, maybe two. Same thing as Fena.
Yeah.
Um, Jahy is definitely a throwaway show. Like, there's not. I don't care about the overarching plot of her trying to find these like crystals and rebuild Hell. She is the second in command of Hell, but some magical girl came in and just blew right past her and destroyed this magical crystal that held together Hell. So she and a whole bunch of people from Hell are now stuck on Earth, and she doesn't have enough power to be an adult all the time, so she's a little kid half of the time of the series, and she's looking for these crystals. I don't care about her looking for these crystals. I just like the shenanigans that she gets into every week because she's kind of incompetent, and she works for a lady that runs an izakaya, a lady that runs Cafe Mao. Like, the
Yeah.
izakaya is named for like a demon lord. All right, I hope everybody appreciates that it's named for a
Yo,
demon lord.
and then the funny
But
part is that Jahi's second in command. Like she's the second in command of Hell, and her second in command comes in and apparently is like has this like super successful business and is like running a corporation that does gives business advice, and she's just like racking in like a crazy amount of money. But she comes in and she
yup,
says, "Oh, how's my leader doing? How's my boss doing?" And Jahi has to be like, "Oh yeah, you see, Cafe Mao. That's my place. I run this place. Here's let me give you all this food that I'm gonna run on my tab and can't eat for the next
And
two
she
weeks
spends her
because now
whole
I have no
paycheck,
money.
and then she's poor the rest of the series too. Like she just spends all of it. She's so incompetent, and it's delightful. And she's a little girl. She's super cute, and she's got all these different. She's got a little girlfriend who, like in the last episode,
Her name is
she
I think
met the
Kokoro.
magical girl, and Kokoro met the magical girl, and Jahy's like, no, you can't love her more than me. I'm way cooler than her, and it's just so cute. And she goes to like a bathhouse, and then there's like a nemesis who's following her that's also incompetent, and the magical girl shows up but doesn't realize that Jahy is Jahy because she's a little kid, and it's
Yo,
cute, and it's not anything to write home about, but it's cute, you know.
yeah, I do like the what she gets into every single episode. I like how weird the magical girl is because like she's like
She's
I don't know
super
a
weird.
masochist. she she
She is
she like
super
she's doing this just to take on the pain of being in possession of the crystals, and she gets a kick out of like having misfortune befallen her as long as she like knows it's not befalling on somebody else, and it's really weird, but like it's in line with the show.
It's so weird. The whole show is so weird, and I love it. It's really cute. Would recommend. This is the first one we've
Yeah,
gotten to that I actually would recommend. I mean, like, Dragon Maid's okay, but I would recommend Jahy. It's cute.
yeah, I enjoy
All
that.
right, now finally some good food. Okay, Kageki
Yeah,
Shoujo. Uh, finally, finally, it took us
finally,
that long to get down here. Oh,
this show is really
Kageki
good.
Shoujo.
Um,
I think it started a little bit better than the second half was, but I still like the second half. I still think it did pretty well. You've got all these girls in a Takarazuka like training school, so they're all training to be theater performers. And at the end of the season is what you get down to in the second half of the series. They're having some big festival where the second years do all this stuff, but they're because it's an anniversary. They're having the first years do a scene from Romeo and Juliet. So there's like a whole set of episodes where they're auditioning for Romeo and Juliet, and you find out backstory about the blonde girl. She comes from the world of kabuki, and she knows a lot about kabuki, and she has to learn how to like not act like a kabuki performer and act like a Takarazuka performer instead. Um, and she's out auditioning for Tybalt, and the blue haired girl is auditioning for Juliet, and one of the twins wants to be Juliet, and they have a whole like character arc where they find their identity and stuff like that. It's good. I'm just saying you should watch the show, and if they come out with a second season, I am absolutely following it. Yes, please and thank
yeah,
you.
I'm
I
I, I
definitely
I'm
think this is
definitely
my
plan on
favorite
watching the
season.
second season as well. Um, like I think the only flaw this show has is that it's a bit unbalanced. You start off with the show being with this by the super Genki girl, and she's so happy, and everything's so happy, and they're all going to be friends together. But then it gets really really dark for like three whole episodes. It gets like, oh wait a minute,
Yeah,
okay, it's not happy. We're going to go into like some real serious problems, and it starts with that way in order to set up that they're going to show each girl and their backstory and how they got where they are and how that affects who they are at the moment. And so it just so
yeah,
happens that the people with the worst problems have the problems that need to be addressed right off the bat, right? And so
yeah. Yeah,
it kind of makes the
one of the
first.
girls has an eating disorder, and the eating disorder
Yeah.
thing gets addressed pretty quickly because I mean, it's pretty serious, and she could die, and
So it does make the first half of the show seem like it's going to be a lot more serious than what it is. And then as you get the rest of the episodes, you realize that not everybody has this like life or death scenario that they're in that we're
yeah,
and so you get to see other girls. There's one girl that had like a boyfriend in high school, and it was a really really good couple. He was like a baseball player, and like he like had
yeah,
this
that
issue
was a
where
cute
like
episode.
yeah, and he had this issue where like he was always compared to I think his older brother, and he had to always kind of live up to that. And she had the same issue where she felt like she had to live up to like things, and she didn't want the pressure. And
It
they
was
had a
her
really
mother
good
and her
relationship.
grandmother. Yeah,
Yeah, and so at the end of the day, though, like she was like, oh well. I'm just gonna leave him. I'm not gonna even like keep in contact with him. And it's like, well, why though? Like he like that's like one of the few like good relationships that we've seen at this point. So it's
Oh
like,
no, that
why did?
had a reason though. No, she he assumed that they had the same problems because her mother and grandmother were stars into the Takarazuka thing, right? But and she was struggling with it and she had her own problems with that, but they went to like a festival and he's like, yeah, just like the problems that you have, and she's like, don't assume what you know what my problems are, and she realized that they didn't fundamentally understand each other, and it was a great experience, but they didn't fundamentally understand each other, and I get that. Like, I was a really that was a very good episode. I liked it a lot.
It
But so
was.
then
It just
she,
feels like that's. It feels like that small disagreement ending your friendship seemed a little much. Like it was like someone misunderstood why you were hurting, and they were trying to make you feel better, and they didn't, and they were unsuccessful, and that's what caused your whole relationship and friendship to be and never speak to him again. And it's like, okay, you could have fixed that. You could have fixed that.
I
You did
mean,
not
no,
have to
I mean,
break ties with
it
the
is a
person.
little extreme, but I mean, I get it. I get where she was going from. But yeah, no, you get a lot.
So
The twins, like I said, they come later and they tell stories, and there's like some older performers that come to the school. But at the end, the blonde girl winds up getting the Tybalt part. Um, and she has a really cool performance. That's like, I like the performance aspect of these kind of things where they like kind of bust out in the acting, and you got a lot of that in this. The little singer girl that was
yeah,
like that was bulimic, she winds up giving like a really good singing performance and stuff. And then four of them are chosen to go on and perform at the event, um, which also was sort of
yeah.
a field day too, because they had this whole field day sequence where they were like doing like a relay race, and I just thought that was really kind of strange for like a performing theater group. But okay, I
Yeah,
guess that's what we're
it
doing.
anime schools have this weird thing where they can specialize in something and not like give you details about what they're doing in their other time, right? Because like this is a performing arts school that not only high school, like college age people are in there along with high school students, and so you have to ask yourself, are they learning math and science as well? And so you have
Yeah, I
to,
don't
and
think
then
so.
but
I don't think so.
they're doing they're doing like culture day, like so it's like, or not culture day, like the sports festival that all the schools
The
do.
sports
And so
festival,
it's
yeah.
weird, like, is this a real school? Is this something that the kids go to, like they have to go to regular school and then go to this afterwards? So they kind of
No,
don't
I
really tell
so
you.
I think in Japan you're only required to go to school through middle school, and then you can choose and like apply to high schools. And I think this is like that the high school slash college post secondary experience in Japan. This is a
Oh, I
specialty
did not know that was a
school,
thing.
and so yeah, I think so. Don't quote me on that. I am not Japanese, nor do I know enough about this to be an expert, but I think that's how it works. But I don't know.
Well,
But yeah, Kageki Shoujo, it was
either
still
way,
good. It was still probably the best thing this season. So
I think so. I think it is probably the best show of the season. There was also a really good episode with the twins. There's two twins in this, and we get I forgot their two names, but the better twin is really good. The other twin, I kind
yeah.
of hate her. Like they showed their relationship and how one of the twins got accepted into the school, and her sister was so distraught and crying that she was like, I guess I'll hold off a year and not go and apply again.
Yeah.
Hopefully, me and my sister can both make it. And then like that ended up having an effect on her life. Like she felt like her opportunity to get ahead and her opportunity to like actually like be an individual she kind of put on hold. And then when her sister ended up getting like parts that they both wanted, it was like, man, I had an opportunity to be in this position before you were in here, and I held myself back because of you. And she wasn't like mad. I mean, she wasn't. It was weird. It was a weird emotion for her, and they did a really good job at showing that how like they definitely still love each other, but like she couldn't help over the fact that she felt like she was always on the losing end of the deal in terms of being sisters. And so the
Yeah.
show does a really good job at going into like all types of relationship problems and problems with like talking with other people and getting to know people. And so I think it's really good. I am excited for like another season if it comes out.
Me too. Me too. I'm invested. So that's all we had for this season. Erik, tell me about what you're excited about for next season. Like, we're not going to be doing
So
a
I
show
haven't
next
started
season. We
watching.
are watching stuff.
I haven't started watching. I only started watching one thing from next season so far, and that's a show called Sakugan, and that's
Oh,
pretty
I was
much
going to ask
is
if you watched that. I watched
yeah.
that today. I started watching that today.
I like it. I don't love it yet, but I think it has a lot of potential because it feels like Gurren Lagann meets Made in Abyss, and so
Yeah,
I have a lot
I
of
can
high
see
hopes
exactly
for it.
where you're going with that. Now, see, I think it's got a lot of Lone Wolf and Cub vibes because you've got a father-daughter team that are going on an
You
adventure
know,
together, but it's also like really heavy. Like there's characters that die in the first episode, and it's pretty heavy. Gary recommended that, and I was like, yeah, me and Gary have the same taste, so I watched it. I'm watching Tact Oak, which is the another show that I kind of like. It's about like aliens came to Earth and they decimated some stuff, and then like some organization made these things. Like they determined that they were attracted by music, and so they made these people into fighters, and then they have like a maestro, like a composer, and they're called music arts. And like the girl is a music art and the dude is a composer, and his arm
I
disappears and
don't
then she
understand a single thing
transforms
you're
into
saying.
a fighter. It's weird,
I don't
okay?
understand.
But it's pretty and it's good and I like it, okay? It's weird, but it's pretty. I'm
Okay,
watching Love Love Alternative. You want to talk about something that's weird? Love Love
that
Alternative is
that
weird, okay?
live live or is
Sorry, Erik,
is
you're
this
going in and out a little bit. What'd you say?
is that an idol show? Is it Love Live? I don't know.
Oh, no. Okay, okay. So let me see if I can get through this. All right. So, Um, there was a show a long time ago called Kimi ga no Zomo Ein, which I loved. I don't remember what the English name for it was, but it was like a guilty pleasure because it was some weird show about this dude who was dating a girl and then she was in a coma for 5 years and then they all had to pretend when she woke up that they were still in high school and it was still the same time frame. But it had a bunch of spin-off series because it was really popular. It was like an eroge and it was really popular and it had a bunch of spin-offs, and the artist from that did character design for a different kind of still an eroge called Love about these girls in mechas fighting monsters, and then they made Love Alternative, which was a different game in a different universe. So you start out the thing where these creatures called beats, or beats, yeah, or something like beta. They're beta. That was it. They came to Earth in the
Okay.
70s or maybe the 80s, and they like started taking over the planet. They're giant monsters, and they like obviously the whole planet mobilized to fight back. And they've been in a 30-year war, and it's set in 2001. Um, and like the first episode is about them basically decimating part of the island of Japan, and these people dying trying to protect it and stuff. And in the second episode, it's this guy who is in Love, which it's a harem, type thing with Eroge, because there's a bunch of girls and him, and they're like pilots and they're fighting these monsters. He was from a normal universe. Then woke up in this first universe with the betas, and he fought them, and he met all of these people, and now he's woken up in a second universe with the betas. But then he went 2 months back in the past because he knows about this plan that the government has to send all the humans, well, not to send the important off of Earth on spaceships to colonize a different part of the solar system and let the betas overrun the rest of and kill everybody else, like a billion people, right? Like the rest of the human race. And he's trying to avoid that because he's woken up 2 months in the past in universe now 2, and he's trying to convince everybody to help him stop them from sending the ships away and all screwing things up. It's weird. It's really weird, and I'm only here for the character design. I'm going to be honest, because the character design is just like mine, which I loved, and I actually love the game on Steam. Although I played like 30 minutes of it, and it was not my jam because it's like it's a visual novel type. You're trying a lot. But yeah, now I'm watching the anime. I don't know why I'm watching it, but here we are. I guess I'm watching it now. And I'll watch Demon Slayer.
Okay, so
I'll
I
even
don't have.
rewatch the part.
Okay, so you're saying I don't have you don't have to watch. Do you have to watch the original before you can jump into this one?
Which one? Muv Love? No, you could probably just jump in. It's
Yeah.
just weird. I don't even
Okay.
think there was another anime of Muv Love. I think it's just based on the games. Like they're giving you some
Oh,
context
okay.
from the old game. Like I learned everything from this episode. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird. Let me look at my verb. Well, your verb. Yeah, I watched Sakugan the first 2 episodes today. Oh,
Oh, I need to watch episode 2 of that then.
No, I forgot. You have to watch. Weird Death Note. You have to watch Weird Death Note. Oh my God, Eric, you have to.
What was
watch
that title
Weird Death
again?
Note. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna tell you about the first episode of Platinum End. Platinum End is by the same mangaka as Death Note, I'm pretty sure, and it's like, all right, strap yourself in. I've only watched 1 episode. Apparently 3 episodes are now out, or maybe 2. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna catch up on this show because I love this show. I'm gonna watch this for the same reason I watched Code Geass halfway through, is because I thought it was hilarious, and I'm gonna keep watching it to finish it because I think it's hilarious.
You watch Code Geass?
So you've got this, like, I watched Code Geass because it was fun, right? When she screamed, "Kill all the Japanese," I was dying. I was rolling on the floor, son. It was funny.
Oh my God.
All right,
I was crying. Crying. I was in tears. I'm yelling, "C2, please fix this." I hope you can hear me. I think for some reason my connection is weird for a second.
No, we got you crying in tears and saying, "C2, please fix it." Yeah, no, we got that part. No, let me tell you about Platinum End. All right, Platinum End. So it starts out with this dude who's like a high school looking guy, and he goes and he's just really depressed. And later you find out that his whole family was killed in an explosion, and he's the only one left, and he's got a lot of remorse. He goes to the store and he tries to steal some bread because he just has nothing left to live for and no prospects. And he puts it back because he's, I guess, inherently an ethical person. But he tries to jump off a building. And when I say tries to jump off a building, a naked but no genitalia sort of white angel creature that's like jumps off from death. All right? And she's like, "I'm an angel and I'm here to give your life meaning and for you to be happy." So, and you find out all this backstory about how he lives with his aunt and uncle who are super abusive. And it turns out, you find out later in the episode, that they were the ones who killed his family because they wanted the inheritance. Like, it's his father's sister, and she wanted the inheritance from their parent or whatever all to herself. But they kept him alive, or they didn't kill him for some reason. I forget why, but they're abusive, terrible people, right? His aunt and uncle, and he hates them. And his cousins are also abusive and terrible. Well, this angel's like, "To make you happy, I'm going to give you one of 2 things. You can have this angel's arrow that will make anyone fall in love with you, that you can use as much as you want, or you can have these wings that basically let you transport instantaneously anywhere on Earth you want." So, and he's like, and no joke, he looks at her and he's like, "Can I have both?" And she's like, "Sure." And throughout this whole sequence, you're kind of getting the impression that this angel is not really an ethical angel. She's a little more like Kyubey. This is the Kyubey angel here, okay? Definitely got some amoral stuff going on, because he's like, he tells her about his aunt and uncle, and he finds out that his aunt and uncle, he goes to his aunt and uncle, and he's like, "I don't want to do this." And the angel's sitting there on his, "Why don't you use your arrow? If you use your arrow, that person will do whatever you want because they'll be in love with you." And like, just highly unethical things that the angel is suggesting. So he winds up using the arrow, which like stabs her. It comes out of his hand and it stabs her in the heart, right? And she instantly is in love with him and trying to feel all over him. And he's like, tell me everything. And she's like, yeah, we absolutely killed your parents. And admits to all of it. And then the like her husband comes in and he like starts beating the crap out of her. Like, what are you doing? And the guy is really upset. So he says, I wish you would just kill yourself. So she picks up like a shard of glass and literally stabs herself through the neck and kills herself right there because that's what the arrow does, right? So, okay, he's freaking out. But the angel's like, she would do whatever you wanted. Isn't this great? And like, it's really creepy, and I sort of love it. But it gets even better. Because turns out the angel has picked him. It's people that are close to death or trying to kill themselves that have potential. There's a set of angels out there that go out and find them and give them these powers. I think there's like, I don't know, 13 or 14 of them. I think they said the number in the show. And now it's getting more like Eden of the East or Mirai Nikki, but they go out and find them because they're all competing to be the next god. Because God is about to like retire or die or something, and now
That is just
he's
Future
in this
Diary.
game where he's got to compete to be the next god. And that's how we got here from dude trying to commit suicide and feeling bad about stealing a melon pen to naked angel who's basically Cube to murdering your family to becoming the next god happens in the very first episode. And I'm gonna need you to watch
I'll
this
check
show.
it out. I'll check it out.
It's
That's a
called
lot. That's a lot.
Flying Men. It's amazing. I loved it. Weird Cube Death Note is what I was calling it, and it was so hilarious. And you're gonna adore it. You're gonna adore it.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Let's
Can't
see.
wait.
Besides from
But
that, I haven't watched anything. I do plan on watching Komi-san Kate, and I'm gonna watch
yeah,
Miracle
Komi-san's
Chan.
coming
I
out
think
on
those
it.
are the only two things on my list. What'd you say?
I'll watch. You're gonna watch the new season of Demon Slayer because everybody's gonna watch it.
I have to watch the movie first.
Well, you don't have to watch the movie. The first part of the season is recapping the movie, so you can just watch like when it started,
okay.
like last week or something. Yeah, you can start like last week and skip the movie because they're recapping the movie over until December, and then in December is the next arc. That's how it works. So.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I don't. You see
Yeah.
that? Okay, okay.
But yeah,
Let's
you
see
got
what
anything
else is
else,
on this
Erik?
list. Well, I would have been watching World Trigger 3 if I had to watch World Trigger 2, but we remember how that happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I do recall.
yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to like just random stuff and see what's actually like decent.
Well,
There's a new
make sure
Digimon
to
that
include
I'll check out first.
because
I don't have a lot of picks.
well, unfortunately, we will not be able to see you guys out there in the ether on the stream for a while. We will be taking a break. We hope you join us for MomoCon Winterfest, December 18th and 19th, 2021, at the Georgia World Congress Center. You can check that out at momocon.com/winterfest. We'd love to see you there. And yeah, we will catch you later. Bye, everybody.